And Carl Pavano's first pitch is in there for a called strike. Well, let's get our Firestone League leaders. Firestone, a tradition of innovation. And there you see DeJesus and Coco Crisp.
And Bloomquist. I mean, the Royals do lead the league in triples as well. They have 22 as a team. But this is not a triples park compared to theirs. DeJesus had a triple last night.
And the 0-2 pitch is lifted in the air. Shallow center coming hard. Francisco, it's going to drop in no man's land. So DeJesus just reached out and flicked it. And he's aboard with a leadoff single.
Well, it was a good 0-2 pitch. There's not much you could do about it. He just puts the ball in play. That was a good pitch. Change up down and away. You can see Francisco coming in. He's not going to get there. DeRosa coming in. It'll fall as a single.
So the Royals get their leadoff man aboard for their hottest hitter going right now, Willie Bloomquist, who was 3 for 3 last night. 6 hits in his last 18 at-bats.
Well, they were on the move last night as well. They stole 5 bases. So, look out for them early. They figure they may be off and running, or at least try. Bloomquist had 3 of them last night. Kansas City, a team, when they get the lead, they like to try to apply the pressure. They're not a home run hitting club. They have hit 47 as a team. That is 12th best in the league. They have to try to manufacture runs, and they were aggressive last night when they had a 4-0 lead. Their defense caved in.
1 ball, 1 strike to count on Willie Bloomquist. David DeJesus, a guy who runs well, but he's never been a guy who's stolen a lot of bases. 11 his career high. He's running on the pitch. It's over the head of Pavano. Valbuena avoiding the crew chief, Mike Riley, and makes the play at first base. A near collision between Valbuena and Riley, as Valbuena just rubbed shoulders with Riley as he came in there.
Good thing he's a skinny guy, Mike Riley. He didn't look at it where it was coming. He saw the runner going from first to second, so he was trying to position himself to get into a play at second base, but Valbuena came in and made the play.
And a runner at second with 1 out now for Billy Butler, who comes in riding a 5-game hitting streak. And Pavano gets ahead with a quick strike. Of more importance than the hitting streak, Butler is 6th in the league with runners in scoring position, hitting .362. Swung on and missed. Boy, Pavano tied him up nicely with that pitch.
Good movement. And that's the thing that Carl had in his last start. He had a very good slider. That pitch has seemed to be coming every time he goes out more and more. And the changeup has always been there all year, and his fastball command has been very good.
The 0-2.
Yes.
He got him.
Yes.
Butler tried to hold up, but he couldn't do it. And Eric Cooper at first punches him out, 2 down.
Boy,
he just didn't give him any room at all.
No, he didn't. He smothered him. You're exactly right. And when you buried him, you know what he did? He learned from DeJesus when he went 2-0 with a great changeup away and he got the base hit. He says, well, this time I'm going to run it inside. I'm not going to stay away. And he does. He gets that check swing. Good job. Good call by Shopik. 2 outs.
Another good 2-out RBI man right here, though, Jose Guillen. 11 of his 25 runs batted in on the year have come with 2 outs. He smashes one on 1 hop to Jamie Carroll, and the second baseman throws him out. Leadoff single does no damage. Now Victor Martinez and the Indians offense coming up when we come back. This starting lineup brought to you by Progressive Insurance, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. And Francisco, Jamie Carroll, and Victor Martinez at the top. Then you've got Shin-Soo Choo. Mark DeRosa leads the team in ribbies. Travis Hafner will DH. Then it's Peralta, Valbuena, and Shopik. Right-hander Gil Mesh in on the line, and he fires a fastball strike to Ben Francisco.
No, the last time he pitched against the Indians back in Kansas City on the 20th of May, he was not feeling up to par. He had a little stiff back and was, going through some tough times. He still went 6 innings.
Francisco lifts one in the air, shallow center. Bloomquist comes in, and that's out number 1.
Let's set the Royals defense for you tonight when we have the opportunity. DeJesus in left, Bloomquist is in center, Guillen in right. Tian at third, Pena Jr. is at short, Crespo at second, Butler at first, Olivo behind the plate. Gil Mesh making his team high 13th start this year. His record is 2-5. He had a horrible month of May. He won his first start in the month of May and then went 5 decisions where he could not get a win. His last win coming the 3rd of May against the Minnesota Twins.
He misses outside to Jamie Carroll, who's riding an 8-game hitting streak coming into action here tonight. And during his streak, Carroll has batted .400.
It's funny because when you think about it, last year Jamie got a chance to play as well, on an everyday basis and did a terrific job. Took advantage of the playing time. He's doing that same thing again this year.
Mesh caught the outside corner with the proverbial perfect pitch right there. 1-2 the count now. Mesh is averaging 5 2/3 innings per start. Just under 4 walks, a little more than 6 strikeouts per 9 innings. And he strikes out Carroll, 2 down. Tonight's injury report brought to you by the law firm of Nuremberg, Paris. Ohio's injury lawyers since 1928. Call 1-800-399-2300. Cabrera, Betancourt, Sizemore, and Laffey on the 15-day DL for the Indians. And for Kansas City, Ponson, Aviles, Tejeda, Buck, Wechter, and Gordon. There's Jake Westbrook, who continues his comeback from Tommy John surgery. Martinez fouls it away. In fact, tomorrow will mark the 1-year anniversary of his surgery. So for Jake Westbrook, he feels pretty good about his ability to be able to come back and contribute this year.
Well, if anybody could do it, he can. He's a terrific athlete.
A called strike, and the count is 0-2. He told me yesterday, he said, in some regards, it's hard to believe it's been a year. And he said, then there are other times I look back at it and I think, boy, time has stood still.
Yeah, it seems like a couple of years. Well, when he's going through the process of rehabbing, he's got something to look forward to. But when it becomes game time, you sit back and you say, this is no fun.
Crespo will throw out Victor Martinez, and the Indians go 1-2-3. After an inning, no score here in Cleveland. Indians baseball on Sports Time Ohio is brought to you in part by Continental Airlines, official airline of the Cleveland Indians. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. By McCafe Coffees at McDonald's, all made to order with fresh ground espresso beans. And by All Care Dental and Dentures, we make seeing the dentist easy. Back here at Progressive Field, no score, second inning. Mark Teahen to lead it off against Carl Pavano. And he missed inside for ball one, and that's unusual. How about this? In the first inning, Pavano and Mesh combined to throw 19 pitches, 17 were strikes.
Well, I think you'll see that most of the night from those two guys. I mean, Pavano's done that all year. He's been a treat to watch.
The 1-1 pitch. And he's ahead of him, 1-2 the count. Mark Teahen with a hit in 9 of his last 12 games. Fights it off to stay alive.
Well, this is a Royal team. You want to try and get the lead early. They're having a tough time. They're 1-6 on this 9-game trip. They've lost 10 of their last 11 and 22 of its last 28.
Those who follow the Royals were telling me before the ballgame, the problem this Kansas City team has had in the last few years, they just cannot avoid that long dry spell, the long losing streaks.
Well, and most of the time that comes when you have good pitching. You know, they say good pitching will stop, streaks. But you also have to score. The Indians have scored more than almost 100 runs more than they have on the course of the year. And consistently, if you're not going to score runs, Greinke can lose. I mean, we've seen it happen to Cliff Lee this year.
Yep.
The Indians are third in the league in runs scored, and Lee is still scuffled because they haven't scored when he pitches.
Last 18 games, they've lost 15 of them, averaging less than 3 runs a game, and that's tough to win.
Can't win, and the bullpen is scuffled. An ERA of over 8. They gave up 6 inherited runners, and they only had 6 yesterday.
Well, there was a rarity right there, a leadoff walk for Carl Pavano. He came in the night averaging 6 innings per start, 2 walks and 7 strikeouts per 9 innings. Now Alberto Callaspo, and he takes the first pitch strike on the outside corner. Well, last year the Royals had a 12-game losing streak. 2 years ago they had a 19-game losing streak. Boy. And those are the types of skids that just suck the life out of a team.
Well, yeah, it's tough to come back when you have a skid that long. And last year the Indians were prime examples. They had a 10-game losing streak early, and you're thinking, boy, that's tough to come back. But they did come back and have a 10-game winning streak, and that happens rarely.
Well, some would observe of the Royals that with the number of young players that they have on that team, when they were sitting at 18-11, they were in maybe not uncharted territory, but an unfamiliar position. Just missed outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, you find out in a hurry because, the scouting goes out and you're saying, hey, these guys are playing good baseball. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. And you start going through their reports, and this is who you can't let beat you. And you don't sneak up on teams.
The 1-2, there goes Teahen. Pitches low, and now he put the brakes on and went back to the bag. He had about a 6 or 7 step break towards second base, and for whatever reason, he just stopped.
How about
dead
Kelly
in his tracks.
Shoppach able to not throw that baseball down to second base? That's almost like someone taking a picture of Tiger Woods and he stops him when he's in the mid-swing. That's hard to not throw that baseball. He saw him stop, and he held on to it. That's tough to do.
Teahen draws a throw. I'm not sure if Teahen just didn't like the way he broke and decided to stop.
That goes to show you how far you can go. For the most part, he must have felt he didn't get a good jump and stop. And when you do that, you can get back. The Royals have 11 out of 14 against the Indians this year in stolen base attempts.
He's going this time, and it's going to be fouled out of play.
Sometimes when you're a base stealer, you know you didn't get a good jump, and he probably just held up or he might have slipped. There's other times when you feel like you get a good jump, you just keep right on going.
And Tian, not what you would call a true base stealer.
Right.
And he probably just didn't like the way it felt first couple of strides.
There's really no true base stealer on this Royals team.
Pavano with a long pause and now steps away. Yeah, Bloomquist leads the team with 11.
Well, yeah, and he had
actually
3
Coco
last
Crisp.
night.
I should say Coco Crisp leads the team. He's got 12.
Yeah, and base stealers are 10 for 13 off Pavano this year.
Just missed, and now the count goes full. Coco not in the lineup tonight. He's been scuffling. Just 1 for his last 10, so getting a day off. Also been bothered with a sore right shoulder. Alberto Callaspo, though, after being down 0-2, is run the count full. Now we'll see if Tian takes off on the 3-2 pitch. There he goes. And it's laced into right field. He's going to try to go to third.
They're going to get him.
Chu's throw is offline just a bit. And Tian is in safely. So Royals at the corners with nobody out here in the second.
Well, they did a good job, did Mark Tian, of putting that head down and continue to go. It was a one-hop seed to Shin-Soo Choo, and I thought he might stop at second base, but you don't want to make that first out at third, but he just puts his head down and goes. Choo with the good throw. Could not get him, so that's men at the corners, nobody out.
Going to bring up Brian Pena, serving as the Royals' DH tonight, switch hitter. Pitch is up high for ball 1.
Well, and Pavano, for those first 2 hitters in the inning, he was ahead of Tian 1-2. He ended up walking him. He had Callaspo 0-2, and then he gets the base hit. So he's been ahead of him.
Pena came over from the Atlanta Braves in a trade just 11 days ago. 2-0 the count. So Pavano, who made 10 pitches in the first inning, 9 of them were for strikes, has struggled here in the second. And that is outside, 3 balls and no strikes. And we have not seen this from Pavano, where he just can't seem to find the mark right now. Working himself into trouble. The number 8 hitter, Miguel Olivo, waits on deck. The 3-0, bullseye.
Well, taking a long look down now. He won't be taken here if he gets a pitch to his liking. If Carl comes back with a good changeup, he's been known to do that in the hitter's count.
3-1 pitch. Line to left. Coming on. DeRosa jumps up, makes the catch. Tagging at third and coming home is Tian. And the Royals take the early lead. But Pavano gets the first out here in the second inning as Pena drives in his second run of the year for Kansas City.
Well, as long as you get the out here. Not the best of routes, but Mark DeRosa puts it away, and he had control of the ball before he's going to flip it into second base. So they get the first out, so the leadoff walk comes around to score. Something that has bitten the Indians 29% of the time. When they walk a guy, he comes in to score.
Now Miguel Olivo, 2 for 4 with a home run last night. And Olivo should just wear the road grays all the time because he is a .290 hitter this year on the road, while batting just .200 at home. And that's a great hitter's park.
Well, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to hit home runs there, but it's a nice park to hit in.
Throw to second.
Nicely
they got him. Nicely done. Kelly Shopping guns down Alberto Callaspo.
Well, Kelly's done a great job of throwing out base runners this year, and this one was right on the money. He has thrown out about 25%. That's the 8th he has caught stealing, 8 out of 31. Look at that, right there, right on the money. You got him on the thigh. Out number 2.
And now Olivo backhanded by Valbuena. And the inning is over. Royals take the lead on the sac fly by Pena. 1-0 Kansas City, middle of the second. She's wearing most of that cotton candy. But she's enjoying it. 1-0 Royals lead it, bottom of the second inning. Shin-Soo Choo will lead it off for the Tribe. Choo shortened the bunt, took the pitch for a called strike. Getting that leadoff man so important for any team. The Royals got their leadoff man aboard in the second, and he came around to score.
Well, when you're doing it against a good pitcher, it gives you, hand up if you can get the leadoff man on a few times.
In any way possible. You look at last night, Indians got their leadoff man aboard in the 5th inning. Kelly Shopping was hit by a pitch. In the 6th inning, Jamie Carroll walked. And that set up both of those innings. In the 7th inning, Francisco got aboard with a leadoff single. It was 6 in the 7th inning when the Indians scored 4 runs each time. In the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that's something Choo has done all year long, and that is be patient if they don't throw strikes. He normally doesn't chase. Full count.
No, he's got a pretty good eye at the plate. He really does.
He's walked 38 times, which far and away leads the club in base on balls. And the payoff pitch is swung on and missed. Second strikeout for Gil Mesh. Take a look at our great clip of the game from last night. In the decisive 7th inning.
Little slide piece out over the plate to Mark DeRosa, his 5th career grand slam, and that was the difference in the ball game last night.
Relax, you're at Great Clips. DeRosa has hit in 6 of his last 7 games. batting .300 during that period. And he's become an RBI machine. He's 21 runs batted in over his last 25 games. Straighten him up. And the count 2-0.
That's what we're noticing more teams doing. They're trying to straighten him up and move him back or move his feet out of that toe hold. DeRosa's a good low ball hitter. See, when you keep him honest right there, that looked like a pretty good pitch to me. Was that a strike or a ball?
Eric Cooper on the appeal.
Okay. I thought it was a good pitch anyway, but see the numbers for DeRosa. That's a pitch that he can hit. That ball down, out over the plate.
3-1.
If you don't straighten him up. But when you keep him honest and, he's got to sit back there and you can't dive out over the plate, little different story.
Now the 3-1. Fouled back, full count. So Mesh, like Pavano, cruised through the first inning, but he's gone 3-2 to the first two hitters here in the second inning.
Well, there was nothing fancy there. Let's go. Here it is. Here it comes.
And the payoff pitch is strike three call. DeRosa doesn't like the decision by Laz Diaz, but he is out looking, and that's 3 strikeouts now for Gil Mesh, 2 down. I think he thought it was low.
Boy, from that, it's hard to tell from that angle. That angle, let's see. That's borderline at the knees. When we saw it go by the front knee, it looked like it was a little below it, so hard to tell. He knows the strike zone. He thought it was low.
Well, here's Travis Hafner. 0 for 3 last night. Looks like Mesh is going to get the low strike tonight, so up to the hitters maybe to have to adjust. Up high. Travis Hafner 6 for 25 in his career against Gil Mesh with a double and a homer. Popped him up. Callaspo, the second baseman, will make the catch, and the Indians again go 1-2-3. 2 innings complete. 1-0 Kansas City. It's a 1-0 Royals lead here as we go to the third inning of play. It'll be Tony Pena Jr., David DeJesus, and Willie Bloomquist for Kansas City.
Boy,
Lots of youngsters in the crowd.
I was going to say,
tonight.
is this kid's fun day? But it's not. It's not Sunday.
Well, school's
it's
out.
It's Wednesday. That's
so
true.
They can stay up a little later now.
That's true. Absolutely right.
Tony Pena Jr., who missed 26 games this year when he had surgery to repair a fractured hamate bone. That was one of those injuries, it seemed like, Rick, during the 90s, you heard a lot of guys.
Happened to Jim Thome when he was here. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. I believe Kelly Gruber was another guy that had it.
Grip the bat down there, and they'd swing the bat.
Deep in the palm of their hand.
Yes, that's absolutely right. They used to have it over the fingers overlapping.
Line to right. Chu backpedaling, can't get to it.
Yeah, he got fooled. He got fooled on that.
And Tony Pena Jr. is into second base with a double. They were playing him shallow.
Which you should.
But he put a charge into that ball. And Chu, instead of dropping and sprinting back, tried to go into the back pedal. And I don't know that he would have gotten to it anyway.
No, but you know what happened? It's a helpless feeling when you break in and then you realize it's over your head. Because there's no way to get going. You just have to turn around and go pick it up. You see what happens to him. You're stuck. You guessed wrong because you expect Pena to hit it in front of you, not over your head.
He was thinking off the bat a sinking liner.
Yeah, that's okay. I've been there and done that. That's just a bad feeling.
Well, let's see if DeJesus tries to move him over with the bunt. Nope, he swings away, fouls it back. DeJesus on an 0-2 pitch, blooped a single in the left center his first time up. 5 hits in his last 22 at-bats on this road trip.
Third straight inning now the Royals have had their leadoff man aboard.
And a strike called 0-2 again. Valbuena, the shortstop, trying to keep Tony Pena Jr. close to the bag. And he tried to get him to expand the zone, but he wouldn't do it. 1-2.
Well, the last time he went out there on an 0-2 pitch, it was a changeup. This time, he says, I'm going to go out there with something hard. He gave him his best fastball, but he didn't bite.
See if he straightens him up. Comes inside, and it's just in off the corner.
Well, that's a good pitch because he's looking away. If he can take that pitch, he's comfortable. So when you miss in off the plate for all pitchers out there. You don't want to miss on the plate.
And he didn't miss by much.
No, he's not missing by much.
But the count evens at 2-2. Back away, took the sting out of his bat, but DeJesus does his job, gets that runner over to third, 1 away. Let's have a look at tonight's Alltel text poll question of the game. And tonight, what pitcher drafted from the University of North Carolina has won the most games in the big leagues? Is it Paul Shuey, John Maine, Scott Bankhead, or Kyle Snyder? Text your answer to 31962. We'll have the results coming up later in the game. Trying to remember, was Scott Bankhead a starter?
Yeah, I think for some period of time he was, yes.
Infield in. Bloomquist pops it in the air.
That'll get it done.
Chu is going to look like he'll make a throw to the plate. Pena tagging, coming home, and he is out at the plate. Holy smokes, what a throw by Chu. On the money, all the way on the fly. Pena Jr. gunned down at the dish, and the inning is over. What a rifle by Chu. Back here at Progressive Field, bottom of the third now. Johnny Peralta will lead it off. And he takes a called strike from Gil Mesh. Take another look at that great throw by Shin-Soo Choo here in a moment. What a phenomenal piece of defense.
He is not that big of a guy, but I'll tell you what, he can generate. He's got one of the best arms in this league, without a doubt.
And he did everything right on that play as far as setting himself.
He sure did.
He didn't speed it up. Swung on and missed. 1-2 the count.
Well, when you watch him, which we do in pregame, when he stretches it out, he can throw it from the warning track all the way to the line and not even take a step or crow hop. I mean, that's how strong his arm is.
Slow curve, and it just missed. 2-2. I think Mesh wanted that one. 2-2. Swung on and missed, and down goes Johnny. That's 4 strikeouts already for Mesh. Take another look at that play by Choo in right field.
Yeah, this is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. You have to love when an outfielder makes a throw like this. A perfect strike. And Pena has good speed at third base. Shopik does a great job of blocking off the plate. You got to love that throw. Shin-Soo Choo, there's the shin guard. Blocked him from getting there. What a great play on both ends to get out of the inning. You see it pumped up Victor as he was coming off the field. Great play.
1-0 the count.
Not many outfielders can throw like that anymore. I mean, very, very few.
Conjures up images of Roberto Clemente.
Well, back, you had some guys that could throw back then. Not many anymore. And that was right on the money.
There's a ground ball. It gets by Butler, and the Indians have their first hit tonight. Luis Valbuena aboard with a 1-out single.
A little bit to the right of Billy Butler, just under the glove. So Valbuena will have the Indians' first hit and their first base runner tonight.
And it'll bring up Kelly Shopik, who's got to be pumped up himself. And that was a great example of why catchers are taught to block the plate with the shin guard. Keep guys from sneaking that hand in there or trying to get the foot in there. You hit that shin guard, it's like running into a cement post.
Yes, it is. That's why you're taught to go feet first when you're going to home plate. You go in there with your hands, you can't do any damage. You can at least knock that shin guard off the plate when you go feet first.
Not to mention you could snap a digit trying to stick your hand in there.
Absolutely. A lot of guys try and sneak that hand in the back door, where you slap home plate when you're sliding by the catcher, and it's hard to do.
Shopik in his last 8 games has 3 doubles, 5 runs batted in. 1 for 2 in last night's game. One 1-0 Kansas City, home half of the third. The 1-1 pitch. Rifled foul, lower deck. Valbuena, not a burner. Shopik down on the count now, 1-2. Able to lay off that ball in the dirt, 2-2. Indians came into this game tonight with a mark of 26-34. 7 games out of first. Currently in 4th place in the AL Central, a game and a half in back of Chicago for 3rd place in the division. They're trying to keep the momentum going. Mesh ready with the 2-2. And it's a full count. good place to send a runner here.
Well,
but the problem is,
no, I don't know if he will, because Shopik strikes out an awful lot. You could have a strike him out, throw him out. Levo with a good throwing arm. There goes.
And he's out looking, but Olivo never was able to get a grip on the ball to pull the trigger. So
exactly
Shopik's
right.
out looking, and he's having a word or two with Laz Diaz. A number of Indians hitters don't seem to be seeing eye to eye with Laz behind the plate tonight.
Well, half of that came true. That was a good two-seamer. Came inside, got him, and locked him up. But on the transfer, look at that. Olivo loses the ball, or he might have had to strike him out, throw him up, and give a stolen base to Valbuena, his first.
So he's in scoring position with 2 down now for Ben Francisco. Flied out to center his first time up. And a called strike to the outside part of the plate. Francisco with a hit in 10 of his last 13 games. Mesh ready with the 0-1 pitch. And a ground ball hit to third. Tien bobbled it, and he'll have no play. Well, Mark Tien, normally a very solid third baseman, but that time just mishandled it. And the Indians will keep the inning alive.
You're going to give the Indians, I mean, that's as routine as it gets. It just went in the glove and came out. And that happens. Players make errors, and no one feels worse right now than Mark Tien of giving the Indians one extra out. So now Gil Mesh is going to have to dig deep to pick up his defense.
Well, the problem if you're Trey Hillman right now is he's seen way too much of that lately.
Yeah, well, the extra outs.
Yeah.
Those are the things that bite you when you're going through slumps and you're not scoring many runs. You can't afford to give up any extra outs. And you can see Mesh now trying to really hump up and throw a little bit harder to pick up his defense. It's all part of the game, but that's the last thing you need to happen here in this ball game.
Jamie Carroll,
Kansas City,
struck out his first time up. Trying to deliver now with 2 outs to tie the game. Ground ball hit to second. Callaspo gobbles it up. And the Royals escape. No damage done. And through 3, it's Kansas City 1, Cleveland nothing. Back here at Progressive Field, 1-0 Royals in front. As we move now to the 4th inning of play, it'll be Billy Butler, Jose Guillen, and Mark Tien for the Royals. Butler struck out his first time up. Hits this one down the right field line. Into the corner, slicing, foul. Well, right now at Alvin's Jewelers, stop by and take advantage of all the savings. 81% you can save on jewelry at Alvin's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler. You can find them online at alvinsjewelers.com. Missed inside, 1-1 to count. Just in off the plate, and the count 2-1.
He worked him over pretty good his first at bat. He was ahead of him 0-2, and he buried him in there, remember, inside. Yeah. This one just a little bit off.
Foul tipped it. But again, I guess if you're going inside and you consistently go inside, then that pitch away is just a little harder to get to.
Yes, it is, because you're not committing. You're not diving out there as soon as he releases the ball. He's using all 17 inches of the plate, and when a pitcher can do that, it makes it awfully tough for a hitter.
That's a tough one in the gap. Francisco's not going to catch up to it. Chu will cut it off right in front of the warning track. And into second base sliding with a double is Billy Butler. So once again, 4 straight innings, the Royals' leadoff man is aboard. And all 4 innings, they've had that leadoff man not only aboard, but in scoring position.
Yes, they have. And the beat goes on. And now this is a pretty good job of hitting for Butler, because he maybe started to look in there and he stays inside the baseball. He was able to get the barrel to the baseball on the inside pitch and shoot it the other way. Good job of hitting. Chu again, nice hustle out there, but it'll go as a double. Second straight leadoff double. And the Royals have 4 hits now in the game.
And Jose Guillen takes a first pitch strike. Fouled back, and the count 0-2. In the series already, the Royals have had 16 at-bats with a runner in scoring position and only 3 hits. So that's a credit to Indians pitching.
Credit to the pitching, and it also it shows you that their offense is struggling.
Just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Boy,
but they're good pitches. They're not missing by much.
And he's saying, how come my guys are getting rung up on some of those close ones?
That's true. Well, he may not be saying it, but Shopik is.
Back to the track goes DeRosa, and this one's not coming back. Jose Guillen launches it for a 2-run homer, and the Royals lead it 3-0. So now how big was that pitch that didn't get called for strike 3? 7th home run of the year for Guillen. 27 runs batted in.
Well, this is one of their power guys, is Guillen, and he comes down. That is a changeup. Looked like it had middle of the plate, though, all over it. And good hitters, he jumped all over it. He stayed back on that ball very well. It's a 2-pointer, makes it a 3-0 ball game.
Martin walked and scored the Royals' first run in the second inning. Takes a strike to even the count. Want to send along get well wishes to our good buddy Vince Koza, who's recovering from arthroscopic knee surgery out in Lima Land. Tien taps it foul. 1-2 the count.
Also have a couple of birthday wishes to send along. Teresa Kovac of Twinsburg turning 82 today. Happy birthday, Teresa.
Pavano's 1-2 pitch. Fouled back over the dugout.
A couple of more birthdays. Bobby Walter of Solon. Happy birthday to you. Jamie Rosner of Solon as well. They're partying out in Solon tonight.
Well, Kansas City already tonight, when they've had a hitter get down on the count 0-2, they're 3 for 5. Tien pops it up. Shallow left. Valbuena says he's got it. And he does, one away. Let's send you back to the STO studios for a Ford Sports update. Here's Al Pawlowski.
Matt, Rick, the Red Sox and Yankees tied for first place in the American League East tonight, and Boston jumps ahead of New York. Now watch Nick Swisher, the right fielder, completely missed it. That's a ground rule double for Dustin Pedroia, gets George Kataris in. 3-1 Red Sox over the Yanks now, bottom of the second inning at Fenway. Back to you.
Boy, that was an odd-looking play.
Yes, it
was.
was.
Swisher was there, and it
ran
just
right through it.
Whoop. Alberto Callaspo, base hit, his first time up. Popped him up. Is it playable? Shopik to the screen, but he's out of real estate. And the fan in the front row, they're pointing at each other. No, you blew it. No, it was your ball. You should have had it.
Be alert. Objects may enter seating area and cause injury.
The 0-2. Spun him out of the way. 3 for 5 when you're down 0-2. That tells you that Carl's just missing when he gets ahead.
Well, when he's thrown some pitches ahead in the count, he's missed off the plate. He felt he's not getting, so he's gonna. Maybe he feels he's got to go in and get more plate, and that's when they're getting hit. It's different out there every time when you toe the rubber every 5 days for a starting pitcher, because you've got to make adjustments to the umpire, to the hitters, and things like that.
60th pitch of the night, and it's just inside the line.
And it's one of those nights.
And Callaspo's going to hold with a single. He just reached out and poked it down the third base line.
There's another 0-2 count.
Yeah, he had him down 0-2.
Had him down there, so there's another. It's just one of those things. This is how Carl Pavano pitches, ahead in the count, and sometimes you're going to expand the zones. He expanded it, but this guy got a base hit. That was good hitting. Pitch was up a little bit, but he still stayed on the baseball, didn't try to pull it.
So 1 on, 1 out for Brian Pena, who drove in a run with a sacrifice fly his first time up. Squibbed, foul just in front of the bag at third.
That's where you expected to see it hit the bag and bounce somewhere.
I was thinking the same thing. Pena, who came to the Royals on May 30th of a year ago in a trade with Atlanta. Spent most of this year at AAA Omaha.
But they were carrying him earlier this year when they were carrying 3 catchers.
Just missed outside, 1-1. Pavano with a long look in. Now he's ready with a 1-1 pitch. And he's outside with it. Pavano came into this game in his last 4 starts with a 3-0 record and a 2.15 ERA.
Yeah, he had a great month of May, you remember, and start with June. This one, bounces have been going his way tonight. Not so much.
Foul back to the screen, 2-2. This game taking really on the same form as last night's game, where the Royals had the lead 4-0, and the Indians' offense struggled to get going until the 6th inning. Now the 2-2, runner goes.
Oh boy, what a jump he had.
But Pena with 2 strikes had to protect and fouls it out of play.
He had him timed perfectly. I mean, it came set and was off. Watch, before he even started. 1, 2, 3, 4. He had one terrific jump. But when you have 2 strikes as a hitter, nothing you can do about it.
Already 25 pitches this inning for Pavano. And the 2-2 runner holds this time, full count. Carl laboring here in the 4th. Gave up the 2-run homer to Jose Guillen.
Well, you know they'll start the runner here on a full count. They have the lead. They will continue to try to apply the pressure.
There he goes, bouncing ball. Backhanded nicely by Martinez. He'll take the out at first, 2 down. And Callaspo into scoring position.
Well, the Brewers will come to town next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And on Tuesday, it's going to be another dollar dog night. Only $1 all night long. So visit an Indians team shop or Indians.com for tickets.
Here now is Miguel Olivo. Grounded out to short his first time up tonight. Olivo batted just .178 in the month of April, as he's way out in front of a changeup. But he's really turned things around nicely. He's hit in 18 of his last 24 games. The 0-1 pitch. Outside to even the count. That is hit hard, deep left field, and that is headed for the bleachers and gone. Miguel Olivo hits the second 2-run homer of the inning for Kansas City, and they now lead it 5-0. Miguel Olivo has just been incredible on the road this year. A .290 average away from Kauffman Stadium and a .532 slugging percentage on the road.
Well, there's another pitch, middle of the plate. And when you ask Carl Pavano, you know, what happened or what went wrong, he's going to tell you, I made mistakes down the middle of the plate. And that's what happens when you throw middle of the plate. So they've got a 4-run inning going and a 5-0 lead for Kansas City, who hit their 48th and 49th home run on the year.
And they were both no doubters as Jensen Lewis gets warm in the Indians bullpen. Pavano breezed through the first inning and then showed signs of struggling in that second inning when he walked the leadoff man at a couple of 3-2 counts, but he got out of it only allowing the 1 run. He was saved by the defense in the third inning on a great throw by Chu in right field to nail Pena at the plate. But here in the fourth, a pair of 2-run homers, and the Royals lead it 5-0 middle of the fourth. trying to get the train rolling offensively here in the bottom of the fourth inning. But so far, Gilmesh has limited them to just one hit. He has struck out 5 through the first 3.
Well, a lot of work to do.
Victor Martinez will lead it off. And he looks at a ball down low. Indians have done most of their damage against Kansas City, as we have pointed out this year from the 7th inning on. But this may be
late.
one of those games where you need to get it going a little earlier.
Well, you want to chip away, certainly at a 5-0 lead, especially with this guy on the mound. He's tough, and he can go 7 or 8 innings. The shorter time or the quicker you can get him out of the ball game, the better. And his last couple of starts, he has pitched pretty well. 6 innings in his last start against Tampa, only gave up 1 run. 7 innings against the White Sox, gave up 2 runs his last 2 starts. So he's always been a tough competitor against the Indians, although the numbers haven't been there for Gilmesh. In his career, 4-9, making his 21st career start.
1-2 pitch to Martinez is swung on and missed. A half dozen punch-outs already for Gilmesh. When the Indians go deep this year, we're raising money for the Gathering Place, a wonderful community who cares and supports for those affected by cancer. Our friends at Great Clips donating $50 for every Indians homer on the year so far, $3,900. To learn more, you can log on to touchedbycancer.org. You can make a donation yourself. Shin-Soo Choo takes a strike. So far, Mesh has struck out all but 3 Indian starters tonight. Now the 0-2. And that's down low.
You know, another tough thing here with Mesh and trying to come back from a 5-run lead. The Indians score, and they score a lot when they can hit home runs. Mesh has only given up 2 homers.
I looked at that
so
earlier.
anything over 50 innings, I mean, there's only 6 guys that have thrown over 50 innings and allowed 2 or less home runs, and Gilmesh is one of them. His teammate that you'll see tomorrow is another, Zach Greinke.
Mesh tried to muscle up on that breaking ball and came up a little short. There's Zach Greinke, who gets the start tomorrow against Jeremy Sowers. 2-2 pitch. Chu strikes out again. That's 7 now for Mesh.
He's rolling. Well, follow the Tribe on your iPhone and iPod. Touch with MLB.com @BAT 2009. It's a great new application. Features play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Indians.com on your iPhone or iPod. Touch to purchase this app today.
Mark DeRosa called out on strikes his first time up. Takes a first pitch strike. And it's quickly 0-2.
That's a nasty hook.
He's starting to get it all working together right now.
He's in rhythm. There's no question about it. That 4-run fourth, look at him. He has sort of let him settle in and relax a little bit. He's free and easy. Look at that.
Gilmesh strikes out the side. He's fanned 8 in the game through 4 innings. And the Royals in front 5-0. It's baseball on Sports Time Ohio, brought to you in part by Subway. Play hard, eat fresh. By Alltel Wireless. Choose who you call for free with My Circle. Any number, any network. And by Direct Energy. Simple solutions for your natural gas needs. Visit directenergy.com/GoTribe for details. Well, Kansas City has had their way so far with Carl Pavano. Not since his first start of the year in Texas has he allowed 2 home runs in a game. But the Royals got him twice in the 4th inning, both 2-run shots. David DeJesus, who is 1 for 2. Singled in the 1st inning, grounded out to second base in the 3rd. Misses down low, 2-1. In the first 3 innings, Pavano made 40 pitches. He needed 31 to get through that 4th.
Well, you talk about control, pinpoint. He hasn't been there tonight. It just has not been the same. I don't know if that neck is bothering me, or you can see it's taped up. Coming off his best start in years. 3-hit shutout in Chicago. But he's gotten to the point where you get to 0-2. He just hasn't been able to put him away today because he's made mistakes on the plate. Believe me, he's not trying to throw it there.
3-2 the count on DeJesus. Popped him up. Shopik near the dugout. Gives way to Peralta. And that's out number 1. Let's get a look at our Subway fresh face of the game. Down on the farm, it's Cord Phelps, second baseman at Kinston. Carolina League All-Star Reserve, batting .268 with 25 ribbies in 53 games. Leads the league in on-base percentage. Subway, play hard, eat fresh. Here now is Willie Bloomquist. 0 for 2. It was Bloomquist who hit the fly ball to right field in the 3rd inning that Shin-Soo Choo caught and then fired it home to retire Tony Pena, who was trying to tag and score on the play. Ground ball up the middle, and that's through. So the Royals have had a hit in every inning so far tonight.
Well, an Indians game always makes a great group outing, and groups of 25 or more receive discounts of up to half off ticket prices. Just call 216-420-HITS and organize a group outing today.
Billy Butler doubled and scored in the 4th. Kelly Shopik asking for time before the pitch is made. Extending his hitting streak to 6 in a row. During his hitting streak, he has 8 knocks and 23 at-bats. Throw over. Looked like Bloomquist was spinning his wheels trying to get back to the bag.
Well, and it wouldn't surprise me the way the Indians have scored late in the game and off of the Royals' bullpen that the Royals, they won't stay pat here with a 5-run lead. They're going to continue to go and stay aggressive. At least I would.
And a strike called.
Bloomquist has stolen 11 out of 12. And, boy, if he gets a jump, I'd let him go.
Royals tonight are 5 for 9 against Pavano out of the full windup. 3 for 9 against him out of the stretch. Chopper to 3rd. Peralta will go to 2nd for 1. No relay. As Bloomquist rolled over the bag and into Jamie Carroll. 2 down. Well, Browns fans, you can win a Trips Pack, the Browns' new 3-game ticket plan. Just log on to STOHD.com now and tell us your 3 favorite Browns receivers of all time, and you'll be automatically entered to win. Billy Butler, the runner at first with 2 away, and Jose Guillen, who hammered a 2-run homer his last time up, is the batter. That was that changeup that found the middle of the plate.
Yes.
Out of play over top of the Royals dugout.
And Guillen, he takes that same approach to the plate every time. He swings hard. He tries to hit it out. They signed him as a free agent because they were looking for power a couple years ago after he was in Seattle and put up some numbers. Had some problems in his first year in Kansas City. Has always been a tough guy. You know, any place he's been, he's had some problems emotionally. He's been a good ball player. He's been a decent outfielder at times, but
yeah, he blew up his first year in Kansas City because he said he was sick of all the losing and didn't think the attitude was right in the clubhouse.
Blew up in Cincinnati and Oakland, and the Angels. Remember when Socha was over there? That's.
Some guys are able to keep those emotions in check, and some guys aren't.
I remember when they took him off the the playoff roster out in L.A.
Yeah.
And Mike Socha, you know, was a good manager. They just said, see you later. It doesn't work this way.
He crossed the leader in Anaheim.
Oh, yes.
The 0-2 pitch. Rolls it between third and short. And another base hit after he had him down 0-2.
5 out of 7. 5 out of 7 tonight in that situation. It's just one of those nights for Carl Pavano. I mean, that's a rarity. You won't see this often. A ball gets in on him, but he gets enough of it to get it through the infield. Another base hit. That's 9 on the night for Kansas City, and 5 out of 7 when Carl has been 0-2 or 1-2.
And with 2 outs, Mark Teahen to the plate. And a ground ball in the hole. Nice diving stop by Carroll. Throw to the bag, not in time. Pavano hustled over, but Mark Teahen able to just beat him to the bag. What a play by Jamie Carroll to at least save a run for the moment.
Well, it was a beautiful job, and Pavano was a step late. Let's see if he gets over there right away. It was hard to tell from that angle. Beautiful play. But as Carroll leads him to the bag, you can see the foot of Teahen and Pavano get there just about the same time. Look at that.
I mean, that's a tie if I've ever seen one.
That doesn't get much closer. And out comes Carl Willis, and it's going to be a short leash from here on in. They may give Pavano that last chance to get out of this inning, but this could be the very last hitter for him.
Carl Pavano saying it's just not my night. You know, a bang-bang play goes against you.
It hasn't been.
A close call, you know, on a strike goes against you, and the next pitch gets launched for a 2-run homer.
The only thing that's gone his way tonight is the double play back in the end of
that's
third.
True.
When
yeah.
Chu made a great throw from right field to nail the guy at home plate, keep it a 1-0 ball game. Other than that, it's gone against him.
But the key for Pavano is to try to keep it right here. I mean, a base hit right here really blows it open.
Yes, it does. You keep it right here, 5-0, and his night will be over after that. But he's got to give it all he's got left in the tank right here, and hopefully he can get an out.
Alberto Callaspo is 2 for 2 already against him tonight with a run scored. Callaspo is now hit in 4 straight games. He's already had 3 streaks this year of 7 games or more, including a 10-gamer. 8 hits now in his last 28 at-bats. At one time earlier in the year, he was among the league leaders in batting average.
Yes, he
was.
was.
A while.
Got off to a terrific start this year.
The 2-0 pitch. And he went after it, fouls it back to the screen. 90 pitches for Carl Pavano, who's trying to labor his way through 5 innings tonight. And as Rick said, one way or the other, this is going to be his last batter. The 2-1. He missed up high with it. And now Callaspo can really zero in on a 3-1 pitch here. And it's hammered deep right field, and this baby is gone. A grand slam for Alberto Callaspo. And the Royals have a 9-0 lead.
Well, all this coming with 2 outs, and that can pretty much do it for Carl Pavano.
That's his
first career
yes,
grand
slam.
It is his 3rd homer, and I mean, he wasn't going to give in. I mean, throw a fastball. He's down 3-1. He's not going to walk him. I didn't think this guy had that kind of power, but he hit everything he got right there. The 3rd home run given up tonight by Pavano, and that is going to do it. It was a long, hard night for Carl tonight.
So he exits, and the Royals have jumped all over the Indians here tonight. Advantage now after the grand slam by Alberto Callaspo. And coming on now for the Indians is Jensen Lewis. Pavano had lowered his ERA every single start from the opener all the way until tonight. Now it's going to go the other way on him a little bit.
Well, it will, but you can't continue to pitch like he's pitched. I mean, it was just one of those nights. It was an off night, a bad night for him, and he gave it up as Jensen Lewis, the long man, will come in to pitch.
And Lewis Brian Pena takes a strike.
Has been off for about 6 days. Last time he pitched was when we were in Minnesota. So he'll get an opportunity to get some innings in.
Missed down low, 1-1.
Yeah, it's just you know what? Unfortunately, just a bad start, a rough start, and that happens. You know, you got so accustomed to him the way with the groove he was in. He was pitching so well, you just expect it.
Martinez with a backhander throws over, and the inning is over. But the Royals expand their lead, and now the Indians have a whole lot of work to do. Royals on top 9-zip. For the Indians, it'll be Hafner, Peralta, and Valbuena against Gil Mesh, who is really pitching well tonight with 8 strikeouts at a season high for Mesh. His career high is 11. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, joined now by Indians Assistant General Manager Chris Antonetti, who has been able to sneak out of the war room for a little while.
He wants to.
Major League Baseball draft, unlike the football draft, it seems like it goes on for an eternity. I mean, it's 3 days long, is that right?
It's a good part of 2.5 days, and that's just the draft itself. We have about 10 or 12 days of meetings preceding it, so it's good to get out and get some fresh air.
So you guys are actually locked up in an office or in a room for hours.
It's a better part of most days, and it's been going on for quite a while, but overall we're pleased with the result. For us, it's a culmination of a lot of hard work by a lot of people, and our scouting staff does a tremendous job year-round getting to know the players throughout the country, and this is their Super Bowl, and it's an opportunity for us to go and infuse a lot of young talent in the organization. And as you guys know, we rely on our young players, and this is the best opportunity for us to acquire it.
Chris, was there a philosophy, or should I say a strategy, going into this year's draft as opposed to maybe years past?
I think we've always had the philosophy of taking the best players available. That said, we do have some depth at certain positions within the organization. So, if there were if there were 2 players that maybe were equal, maybe we leaned one way or another. But for the most part, our philosophy is always to take the best player available when we pick.
And the first 3 rounds are on television nowadays. And how did that go? Yes, are you happy with the first 3 picks, the way it went?
From the guys we got, we're elated. A couple of guys. First guy we got, Alex White, a right-handed pitcher from the University of North Carolina. Has got great stuff. We didn't think he'd be there. At the beginning of the day when we were going through a bunch of scenarios, we really never thought he'd get to us. So we were elated that he can't. He fell down to us with our first pick at 15 overall. And
look at Travis Hafner beating the shift. Bangs it the other way, and the Indians get their leadoff man aboard for the first time tonight.
So we were really pleased that he was there, and then a couple follow-up picks. Jason Kipnis is an outfielder from Arizona State that has a great track record of hitting. Our guys feel that he has the ability to stay in center field and has a chance to be a really good offensive player. And so you factor that in, along with some things we did in later rounds. We felt we had a good and balanced draft so far.
Joe Gardner, talk about a big pitcher, 6'5", out of UC Santa Barbara. What can you tell us about him?
He's a really big, physical guy. He's got a 55, slightly above average fastball with great life to it. Gets a lot of ground balls and a solid average, so plus slider.
That's funny. When you say 55, that's on what, an 80? Or an 8 is the highest?
Exactly. That's on a scouting scale. Scales for each tool go from 20 to 80. So 5 is major league, 50 or 5 is major league average. So anything above that is above average.
Just so the fans out there understand. When you said 55, I know you've been locked up in the room.
I've been in that room for a long time. Yeah, I've been in that room for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now, again, there are so many rounds, and you're through 30 so far?
We're through 30. We have 20 more to go tomorrow.
Oh, boy. You're going to need a vacation when this is over with.
It's fun, too, because it's an opportunity, as I said, for us to get a lot of guys into the organization and infuse a lot of talent. And it's critical for us, and it's a fun time of year.
And all right, now once you draft them and you get your 50 rounds, then comes signing them.
Right.
And now you have to sign them so much sooner than you did in the past.
Right. It's been an August 15th deadline for the last couple of years. They've actually moved it to August 17th because it falls on a weekend. But it's a lot sooner than it's been in the past. Typically, we've had until the following spring or following draft, and now that deadline's pushed up. But we're confident we'll get the vast majority of our guys signed and out playing in the near future.
I can't even imagine that process, though, because there are so many players. There's only one of you. How do you get them all done? Or are the guys that scouted them, are they empowered to get them to sign on the dotted line?
Well, it's a collective effort. I think what we try to do is we have signability information is what it's termed on every guy that we're contemplating taking. So we have an idea generally of the parameters of what it will take to get those guys done. And then we line that up with where we're picking or where we'll select them and determine if there's going to be a match there. So for the most part, we feel good about it. Those guys do, our area scouts do a tremendous job of knowing the players prior to coming in for the meetings here, and that gives us a good head start.
Peralta draws a walk, 2 on, nobody out here in the 5th inning. And speaking of the issue of signability, and I think that brings up an interesting point, because I believe I read where Alex White had been drafted before, maybe
yes.
right out of high school.
He did. He was drafted by the Dodgers out of high school.
Right. So a lot of times guys get drafted and they're looking to see, well, where did I get drafted? And if it's not as high as they think, then they can choose to go to college.
It's all about this. They went to dollars and cents, baby.
That's a big part of it. You know something about that, don't you?
Well, no, not back in 37 years ago. I got the cents. I didn't get any dollars.
One of the first holdouts in Indians history right here.
That was fun. I wish I could come nowadays, boy.
You didn't show up to spring training or something,
I
right?
held out. Yeah, they tried to give me big. That's the only. That's the only thing we could do. So, that was before agents.
Well, we'll try to get our guy signed.
You could have signed me with nothing. If I was making $500 a month, and no big deal. I signed for total $65,000, and I was the second pick in the country.
He's still making $500 a month.
Yeah.
Valbuena lines one to center, but right there is Bloomquist. That's the first out in the inning. How about some local guys? And it's rare. You don't see a lot of local talent. Ohio's not exactly a hotbed for Major League Baseball, but certainly Ohio has produced its share of major leaguers. But I saw Kyle Smith right down the road at Kent State. Right-handed
big
pitcher.
Physical, 6'6" right-hander with great stuff. We think he's got a chance to potentially be a starter for us, and it was a guy that we were happy was still there, especially so late in the draft.
And then you got another guy here from Port Clinton, Ohio, a little farther down south.
Another guy that we were, it's a little bit younger guy, but we were 6'2" right-hander, I think, and it's a guy that we feel has got good stuff, and hopefully a guy we can get in our development system and really help him on his path to the major leagues.
18-year-old Michael Hammond out of Danbury High School, so... I mean, I can't imagine that, it seems to me anyway, an overwhelming job for these scouts to go out and scour the country, because not only are you scouting, but there are 30 teams. I mean, everybody's out there. They're all looking for players. How do you know where we've got the in on this guy right here?
Right, well, it's a hyper-competitive process, and we're fortunate we've got a great group of 15 area scouts that are scattered throughout the country, and within each area, they're in charge of knowing all their guys, and they'll use their local contacts there. They may have some part-time scouts that help them get some information or line up some schedules, and then from there, we've got another layer on top of that, and they're called supervisors, and it's by each area of the country. We've got 4 supervisors. They kind of oversee and go into each area and double-check and see some of the guys that our area scouts recommend. Then on top of that, we have a national cross-checker who's responsible for the entire country, and then our scouting director who oversees the whole process.
Non-stop, huh?
Yeah. So for the guys towards the top of the draft, we try to get multiple looks by multiple people because we feel that's the way we'll make the best decisions. We want to be able to have, you don't want to just see that one good start or that one bad start. You want to try to get in there and see as many outings as you can and try to put all the pieces together.
That's to watch them play as much. The toughest thing I think about scouting is judging what they have inside, the heart, and where they come from and getting to know the family and what they're all about.
And that in-home visit's a very essential part of the process for us. And our scouts spend a lot of time getting to know not just the players' abilities on the field, but their competitiveness. What do they have? How important is baseball to them? Is it one of the priorities in life? Because, as you know, getting to the major leagues, it's not an easy road. And if you're not focused on being a baseball player and being an exceptional baseball player, it's really tough to succeed.
Yes, it is. That's got to be your only thing that you want to do, really.
Yeah.
2 on, 1 out. Kelly Shopping with a 2-2 count. And a foul tip. Did he get it? He hung on to it. Kelly thought it may have hit the ground, but that's 9 strikeouts now for Gil Mesh.
All right, now speaking of the major leagues, anything happening here? I mean, there's been talk like possibly, trade. We're getting into stuff going on, and people are saying, well, we may want to trade. We may want to get somebody. DeRosa's name's been thrown around. Anything like that happening?
It's natural this time of year where teams are just talking to each other and just trying to find if there are potential fits. Our focus right now remains on the team we have here and trying to get back in this thing. And, we've seen some signs over the last couple of weeks, and, we're just now a few weeks away from getting a lot of our guys back. We expect to have Jake Westbrook and Aaron Laffey back here in the next couple of weeks, and Grady hopefully won't be too far behind, and Asdrubal, right behind him. So, we need to continue to do some of the things we've done over the last couple of weeks. The guys that have stepped in have really done a good job and have played well, and hopefully they can continue that.
Sort of hold the fort until hopefully Grady does come back, and you do. I mean, do you really expect Westbrook to come back and pitch like he's capable of pitching?
We do.
After Tommy John?
I think, in talking to our guys, you expect them to come back and have 100% of the stuff. What you typically may not have is command, and that's one of the last things that come. So he'll probably be 85%, maybe 90% command-wise of what we're typically used to seeing Jake, and then next year he'll be he'll be 100%. But I think if you have 100% strength of Jake Westbrook with 85 or 90% command, that's still pretty good.
I know
pitcher.
him. He's a terrific athlete, and if anybody can do it, he can.
And that's one of the things. It's not every rehab's equal. And Jake being such an exceptional athlete, and he's actually been ahead of every marker along the rehab process.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
So with his athleticism and his work ethic, we're confident he'll be a good pitcher when he comes back for us.
Pitch missed down low. With 2 outs, we may not have enough time to get through all of this. But what can you tell us about Fausto Carmona, where he's at mentally, and what the process is to get him back here to the big leagues?
Sure. With Fausto, we didn't think just sending him to AAA would be helpful. What we wanted to do is take him out of the competitive environment and really get back to some fundamental things to address some of the issues in his delivery.
Makes sense.
To really go back to square one. And it's not uncommon. It happened with Roy Halladay, happened with Edinson Volquez a couple of years ago, where you take guys out of the competitive setting.
There's a liner to left field and a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third. Haffner will go back to the bag, and they are loaded with 2 outs here in the 5th inning now for Jamie Carroll.
So we'll get Fausto out of the competitive setting. He's currently out in Goodyear. He's going to go back and really work through a routine of getting back to the mechanics that allowed him to be successful, coming up through the minor leagues, and then when he initially made his
So there's really no timetable on him. It's just a matter of getting confidence back and just getting mechanically sound.
Correct. We don't want to rush the process. We want to make sure when he comes back, he has the foundation to be successful. So it'll probably be a progression. He'll be out in Goodyear for a little.
Who's down there working with him?
Dave Miller, our minor league pitching coordinator, is down there. Steve Lyons, who's assisted.
I know Steve.
He's been a pitching coach in our system, and now is a pitching coordinator in our minor league system, as well as a pro scout for us, as well as Julio Rangel, who's our mental skills coordinator in the minor league.
So, Chris, I know with Roy Halladay, that was a case where they literally broke him down and started over from scratch. You're not talking about that drastic a change with Carmona, are you?
No, with Fausto, what we're looking to do is get him back to some of the habits and fundamentals within his delivery that allowed him to be successful.
More tinkering as opposed to remaking.
Right, and I think it's been a process with Fausto, even going back to 2007, where his mechanics didn't all of a sudden change. They've migrated, and I think what we want to try to do is get him back to, we've looked at a ton of video, be able to show Fausto through video some of the things that he's done a little bit differently.
I'd love to see him go over to the first base side of the rubber as opposed to the third, the way his ball takes off. So tell Dave I said that, will you?
I'll make sure we get that. I'll make sure we get that in his plan.
I'm going to call him and leave him a message. I mean, there's just something. For some reason, I've talked to other pitchers, and the way his ball moves so much, and he has a tough time with left-handers inside, I'd love to see him move over to where Mesh is throwing from right there with the movement.
With his life, it does give him the ball more chance to stay on the plate. So I think what we need to do is make sure we get his direction online to the plate.
Right.
He gets back to having more of that sink, which is the top to bottom movement, rather than the kind of right to left, or left to right movement.
With his arm and his stuff, when he comes back, and he will get it back together. There's no doubt in my mind that you need a guy like that. He was the number 2 starter coming into the year.
He was, and he was an important guy for us entering the year. Thankfully, we've had some guys recently that have stepped up and performed, but Fausto will be a critical part of our success, not only going forward, but hopefully for the rest of this year as well.
Meanwhile, Jamie Carroll trying to get the Indians back in the ballgame, lifts one deep center. Bloomquist runs it down and snuffs out the rally. So the Indians threaten, but they cannot score. Chris, thanks for your time. Good luck with the rest of the draft.
Thanks, Matt.
You want to stay up for a while and stay out of the room?
I know, I hear you. It's good to get some fresh air.
9-zip Royals after 5. Kansas City on top as we go into the 6th inning of play. Jensen Lewis will face Miguel Olivo, Tony Pena Jr., and David DeJesus. Olivo hit a 2-run homer back in the 4th. And it got him on the, looked like the left elbow. And the Royals, again, get their leadoff man aboard. That's been a familiar theme tonight for Kansas City. That'll bring up Tony Pena Jr., who is 1 for 2 with a double to right field. And the pitch is down low for ball 1. Royals got 1 in the 2nd, 4 in the 4th, 4 more in the 5th. Down low, 2 balls, no strikes. There's a strike. And it's just, the baseball draft to me is just kind of an interesting process because not only do you have that, but then you've got, kids in the Dominican.
Yeah, their own schools over there.
Yeah, so they're not part of the draft. You've got to go out and sign them when, at 17, 18 years old as free agents. Just it's such a huge undertaking for each and every organization to bring these players in. And you still, these scouts have a great eye for talent, and they do a whale of a job, but they're still a crapshoot. You just don't know 100%.
Well, you go over and look every year how many number 1 draft picks actually make it to the big leagues. And then you find guys in the 13th round, the 15th round, the 20th round that turn out to be great players. And then you figure guys that are slam dunks. I mean, it's tough to tell. Like I said, they could have all the talent in the world. Carroll, but boy, that doesn't make them great players.
It's 1 at second. Relay in time. A double play. Nicely turned by Carroll and Valbuena. Time now for our Northern Ohio Toyota Dealers game recap. Jose Guillen, 2-run jack to make it 3-zip in the 4th inning. Later in that same inning, Miguel Olivo hit a 2-run homer to make it 5-0. And then the killer blow right there, the Alberto Callaspo grand slam, first of his career, made it 9-zip. Here's David DeJesus, 1 for 3 tonight. Yeah, there aren't many Evan Longorias who you look at and say, this guy is a can't miss, no doubt about it.
Well, there's a lot you feel can be that way, but it just doesn't turn out that way for whatever reason.
Well, think about it, too. I mean, so much of it, you look at a guy, and certainly, he has to fit into certain parameters in terms of strength and size and speed and all those intangibles that, you look for. But also, you're watching him maybe on a high school field where he's playing against high school players.
Or a college field.
And how does a scout have that ability to look at that and project this guy at the major league level being able to do those things? That's what fascinates me.
Well, and how does that kid react to situations, too? I mean, you walk out there and you don't know how your teammates are going to treat you. You could be a number 1 draft pick, and they could treat you like dirt. And you may not fit in, and you may not handle it. You may not be able to deal with the crowd. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, more than just baseball skills.
Fouled back.
Then there's money. And if you're given the money as the number 1 draft pick, and then you have a 20th rounder that's even keel, talent-wise, when you're in the minor leagues, who do you think is going to get more opportunity? The guy that's given the $2 million as opposed to the guy that said, come on and we'll give you a tryout.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to hang around a lot longer than the guys that, are.
They're going to get more opportunities.
Yes, they will.
Payoff pitch. Struck him out looking. Good inning for Jensen Lewis. Middle of the sixth, 9-0 Kansas City. Going to the bottom of the sixth here at Progressive Field. Defensive change for Kansas City. Luis Hernandez has come in to play at third base for Mark Teahan. Victor Martinez, Shin-Soo Choo, and Mark DeRosa for the Tribe here in the sixth inning. In the fourth inning, Gil Mesh struck this trio out in order. He has fanned a season-high 9 so far tonight through 5 innings. Got out of a bases-loaded 2-out jam in the fifth. That's been it, though, as far as the Indians threatening tonight. 1-1 to count.
Gil Mesh looking for that first win since May 3rd. At Minnesota.
Victor with a wild swing came up empty. 1-2. Victor taking a little extra time before he steps back in. It'll be the 85th pitch of the night right here for Mesh. And he came inside off the plate, 2-2. You know, to kind of finish our conversation about players who get drafted and how you try and foresee what kind of success guys may or may not have. As Mesh has struck out his 10th of the night with one down here in the sixth inning. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Here first is a look at the Alltel Text Poll question once again. What pitcher drafted from the University of North Carolina has won the most games in the majors? Is it Paul Shuey, John Maine, Scott Bankhead, or Kyle Snyder? Text your answer to 31962. Results coming up in a little while. Shin-Soo Choo with a couple of strikeouts tonight, rolls one to first, and quickly 2 down. In your case, you're coming out of Niagara Falls, New York. You get drafted.
Right.
I mean, when you're a senior in high school, I'm assuming you're probably about the fastest guy on the field in just about every game you played in high school.
Absolutely.
You probably, hit everything in sight. You had a high batting average. All of a sudden you get to the pros, and now there's a lot of fast guys there. And while you were still, very fast, all of a sudden, there's some other guys that are just as fast.
The game, you know how they say it speeds up on you? That game when you go from high school. Now, I went from high school to the California League, which was A-ball. Boy, that ball was really fast on that infield when I was playing shortstop because I signed as a shortstop. I didn't have a cup in high school. First thing I went out in pro ball, that next day I went out to the sporting goods store and bought a cup.
You mean they didn't even provide one for you back in those days?
Absolutely not. You're responsible. You're in charge of your own family jewels. That's all.
2-0 pitch to DeRosa's down low. 3-0 the count. How did you deal with that, though, from a confidence standpoint, all of a sudden,
I didn't know anybody there. All the guys were 21 or older. I was 17. And let me see, Eckersley was drafted in that same draft. He was the number 3 pick, and he was out in the California League.
But with Eck, it wouldn't have mattered if there were guys throwing 200 miles an hour.
Well,
he was still
pitcher. He had
that confidence, though.
Yeah. It was scary because, you go out there as a number 1 pick, and these kids look at you like, oh, let me see the guy they gave all the money to.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk in there, and I'm a kid from Niagara Falls. What do I know? You walk out there, and they treated you like dirt, man.
So that's another part of that process that, every young kid who gets drafted professionally has to deal with.
Yeah. You got to go in there, and you got to earn your keep, boy, because they see a number 1 draft pick coming up. They think, all right, let's see Mr. Highfalutin
take you down
over
a
here.
peg.
Well, they wanted to take me down a peg. That's why I didn't show up in spring training the next year. Can't take down what you can't see. I waited for him to leave.
Here's Travis Hafner, base hit his last time up. And he missed up high.
It comes down, Matt. I guess you can joke. I can joke around. It comes down to believing in yourself. And it's like if you really believe you can do it, and how bad do you want to do it? You're going to have to sacrifice everything you've got and do it on your own. You can't rely on any family members. They can't do anything for you. Friends, relatives, anything. You're on your own. Let's see how bad you want it. Put you on an island, and we'll see how bad you want to play. I think that's what it boils down to. You see what you're made of.
1-1 the count on Hafner. Pops it up. Might be playable. Hernandez makes the grab. 6 complete from Progressive Field. It's Kansas City 9, Cleveland nothing. Feel safe at home with the banking home of the Cleveland Indians. By AM/PM, too much good stuff. Hasn't been a whole lot of cheering for the hometown team tonight.
No siree.
It's been all
Kansas City.
Yep. They're using the long ball tonight, which is not normally part of their MO. A lot of crooked numbers. A 2-run homer in the fourth by Jose Guillen, a 2-run homer in the fourth by Miguel Olivo, and a grand slam by Alberto Callaspo in the fifth. They did to the Indians tonight what the Indians did to them last night. Back-to-back innings where they scored four
runs.
innings.
That's right.
4 runs, yeah.
And, it was almost, when I look at the card, almost similar because 3 out of the 4 scored in both innings. Last night, the Indians had the same 4 guys score in back-to-back innings.
Lewis gets his second strikeout, 1 down here in the 7th. We'll go back to the STO studios now for a Ford Sports Update with Al.
All right, guys, we go back to Fenway Park in Boston, and here Kevin Youkilis, 2-run homer to right field, his 10th of the year. That put Boston ahead 6-2. Now 6-3 in the bottom of the 5th inning at Fenway. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Al. First pitch strike to Billy Butler from Jensen Lewis. Butler with a double and a run scored in the 4th. Reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the 5th. High pop center field. Ben Francisco jogging in. 2 down. Let's get a look right now at our All Care Dental and Dentures Smiling Easy Cam tonight. Folks enjoying a night at the ball yard. Looked like rain early, but it's really turned out to be a pleasant evening. With 17 locations across northeastern Ohio, All Care Dental and Dentures make seeing the dentist easy. Pinch hitter now. We'll see Mitch Mayer come into the ballgame. Jose Guillen started in right field tonight. Went 2 for 3 with a 2-run homer, a single, 2 runs scored. Fouled back. Mitch Meyer batting .234 and limited opportunities this year. Up high with the pitch. Now the 2-2, and he missed down and in with it. Payoff pitch, and that's fouled away. Again, the 3-2. Strike 3 called, and for the first time tonight, the Royals are retired in order. to stop by Panini's. You can catch the game and enjoy pizza, wings, or a famous overstuffed sandwich on their beautiful outdoor patios. Best outdoor dining in town. Visit paninisgrill.com. 9-zip Royals lead it, bottom of the 7th inning. Mitch Meyer stays in the game. He's now in center field. And Willie Bloomquist slides from center field over to right. Johnny Peralta has struck out and walked tonight. Slaps that one into left center. And so Peralta has a base hit. That's just the 4th hit tonight for Cleveland.
Well, attention to all of you students. You can celebrate the beginning of summer vacation tomorrow night when the Indians wrap up the series with the Royals. Bring your student ID, receive half off upper reserved, upper box, lower reserved, or bleacher tickets. That'll be tomorrow night.
Luis Valbuena pops it back. Valbuena got the first hit of the game for Cleveland back in the 3rd inning. Last time up, he hit the ball hard but lined out to center. Foul tipped at 0-2. This scoreboard update brought to you by Coors Light. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Lefty Ron Mayhay up. Gil Mesh had 100 pitches, so his night coming to a close. Trying to work through 7 innings. Swung on and missed. And that is 11 strikeouts, equaling his career high for Gil Mesh. Log on to stostuff.com for authentic Sports Time Ohio merchandise. You get an STO hat. There's also the Bruce Drennan talking bottle opener. All available for purchase right now at stohd.com. Shopik with a swing and a miss.
They've had no luck from Gil Mesh. Actually, any way you look at it, they've only had 4 hits tonight, but one of them when he's in the stretch. Ties a career high, 11 punch-outs.
Shopik has fanned twice tonight, once looking, once swinging. 0-2 the count. Mesh trying to set a new career mark. And the right-hander ready with the 0-2 pitch. High and wide with it. He still has good velocity with the fastball, 93 miles an hour.
Almost like that was a shell for him to set up this maybe hook coming right here. That's what I would think. He's gotten Kelly twice tonight already. Oop.
Lays off that ball in the dirt. Trey Hillman has watched Mesh pitch a beautiful game here tonight. The 2-2. Big curve, and it hung high. When Gil Mesh has his A game, that big curveball is just there's nothing a hitter can do with it because he's got the good fastball. And
when he came out in the bottom of the 4th, when he struck out the side after they scored 4 runs, he was free and easy and pretty strong still, and he had a nasty curveball.
Pop foul back out of play. And the payoff pitch is low. Ball 4. So good at bat for Shopping after he was down 0-2. Works it for the walk. Third walk issued by Mesh tonight.
Well, visit any of the Northeast Ohio Team Shop locations, including the new Team Shop that's in the Strip in North Canton. Team Shop's your source for game tickets and authentic Indians merchandise.
I'm sure Trey Hillman wants to give Mesh a chance to work through this 7th inning. He's had 109 pitches.
Well, he did. He's had, let me see, a 113, a 116, a 120, and a 110 this year.
2 on, 1 out for Ben Francisco.
But really no trouble. You know, he hasn't had to pitch out of trouble tonight. It's been pretty much free and easy for him all night long. Not any stressful innings except, you know, I'm sure he's getting gassed.
High pop. It may stay playable. Hernandez again. Coaching box makes the grab, 2 down. And that'll bring up Jamie Carroll, who was 0 for 3 tonight. And it was Carroll who was at the plate in the 5th when the Indians threatened to get back in the game with the bases loaded. Carroll put a good swing on the ball, drove it to fairly deep right center, but Bloomquist was able to run it down in center field and make the catch. That ended that inning. And Mesh has been able to really settle back and cruise.
The back of their gulls, man. Look at them all.
They are everywhere.
They sure are. Are the bugs out tonight? I don't see them. They got to be. These things have been visiting every homestand.
I saw somebody running, jogging today on Lake Road on my way to the ballpark, and they were like coughing and spitting. It looked like they were running, and they probably ran through a swarm of those little bugs.
Then they must be out in the field because that brings those birds in.
1-1 to count. Missed down low with it. Two balls and a strike to count on Carroll. And a ground ball backhanded by Butler. The flip. And the inning is over. Gil Mesh, 7 innings complete, and a 4-hit shutout, 9-zip Royals.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Back here at Progressive Field, 9-zip Kansas City. My man's loading up on nachos. We're loading up on changes here for the Indians defensively.
His looks better.
Chris Jimenez is now in the ball game in left field. Trevor Crowe is in center. And Francisco moves over to right field. And Ryan Garco now in the game at first base. So Chu and Martinez and DeRosa are all out. Luis Hernandez gets his first at bat of the night. In the air, left field, there's Jimenez. And Chris makes the catch, one away. Time now for our direct energy, bringing the gas sequence. Go back to the 6th inning. DeJesus facing Jensen Lewis.
Misses low. Boy, look down at the knees. That's where you want to miss. Falls behind in the count, fouls one off the mask of Shopik and gets him right there.
Direct Energy offers simple solutions for your natural gas supply needs. Alberto Callaspo. What a night he's had. 3 for 3, 2 singles, 2 runs scored, and a grand slam, the first of his career.
Yeah, career night for him is right.
He's some kind of hot. Another 4-game hitting streak. 9 for his last 29.
I could see the 2-run homer by Guillen and the 2-run homer by Olivo. They were middle of the plate. This kid is having a career night. 4 for 4.
Speaking of career nights, let's go back to the STO studios. And Al Pawlowski has another Ford Sports update.
All right, fellas, let's go to Detroit and Chicago. In Chicago, this the first run came in the top of the 6th inning. Adam Everett, an unlikely source, just his 2nd homer of the year. Justin Verlander looking good. That might be all he needs. Back to you.
Well, you're right, Al. The way Verlander can dial it up, he doesn't normally need a whole bunch of support. Brian Pena, 0 for 2, drove in a run with a sac fly early in the ballgame. And Lewis misses outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Yeah, Callaspo tonight, you talk about a career night, Rick. Career high in hits, 4. Career high in ribbies, 4 with 1 swing of the bat. And, of course, his first career slam.
Well, if you're going to have a night, have a good one.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I could see the other 2 home runs that were middle of the play, but Carl Pavano fell behind him in 3-1. He wasn't going to walk him. He gave him a high fastball, and he got it into the seats. So
got something to call home about.
Oh, they'll be texting him already. I'm sure they've already seen the news.
This will be the 40th pitch coming up here for Jensen Lewis, who has worked 2 2/3 scoreless innings of relief. That's slugged deep in the air, center field. Back is Crowe. And he's got it, 2 down.
Well, the Indians present the 2009 one-day experience. That'll be Saturday, July 11th. Participants will play 2 ball games right here at Progressive Field. You can meet an Indians alumni, receive a couple of uniforms, and it's really a good day out at the ballpark if you want to play out here at Progressive Field. If you would like to register, call 216-420-HITS.
Here is Miguel Olivo. Looks at a ball up high. Olivo hit the 2-run homer in the 4th inning. Called strike to the outside edge. 1-1 to count. Low and away. The 2-1 to Olivo. Right back to the screen it goes. Same two teams will wrap up the series tomorrow night. Right here at Progressive Field, it will be Jeremy Sowers for Cleveland, Zach Greinke for the Royals. We'll have it for you right here on Sports Time Ohio. There's Sowers. .705 game time here at Progressive Field. Of course, Al kicks off our coverage with the Northern Ohio Chrysler Jeep Dealers on Deck show. And then we're back into interleague play over the weekend with the St. Louis Cardinals coming to town, and then Milwaukee next week. The 2-2. Swung out and missed. He struck him out. Lewis is fan 4. And he's worked 3 1/3 scoreless innings of relief. Left-hander Ron Mayhay coming on for KC.
21st time this year, 1-0 record, 4.26 ERA, covering 19 innings, 27 hits, has walked 11, struck out 19. So Gilmesh, 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts, ties a career high. It was a dandy.
And in his previous 3 starts, he had only struck out 10 in over 15 innings.
Right. Well, he's looking for his first win, told you, since May 3rd.
One-hop smash to short. Pena throws out Trevor Crowe, 1 away. Well, let's see how sharp our viewers were tonight with the Alltel Text Poll question. 34% going with Scott Bankhead. Who is the all-time winningest pitcher drafted out of the University of North Carolina in the big leagues. How many wins?
He was the first round draft pick for the Kansas City Royals, I think, back in 1984.
Ron Mayhew in there for a strike to Chris Jimenez, who's already clobbered a couple of home runs. And really an interesting player when you look at where he fits, because this guy can play a number of different positions. Catcher, but he can also play in the outfield. You saw him make a nice catch earlier. He's played a lot of third base, too. Also at first. But he's the kind of player whose bat will find a position for him. Pops this one up. Right side of the infield. Butler and Callaspo converge. Callaspo takes it 2 away. Spend the day with celebrities from the world of sports at the Cleveland Indians Charity Celebrity Golf Classic, Monday, August 3rd at Quail Hollow. For full details, call 216-420-HITS or visit online indians.com/golf. Monday, August 3rd, coming up. A great day as always. Be a good day to break out the new R9.
Oh, baby. Did you go hit him today?
I went out today, took Max out.
Did you? Did practice?
Played 9 holes. Didn't take the R9, though. Wasn't ready to.
Oh, come on.
Couldn't break it out of the plastic just yet.
Got to let the big dog eat, man.
Ryan Garco takes a strike. Tell you what, though, after the first 2 holes, Max and I were in a dead heat.
Yes.
I went, oh, boy.
Either his game's improved or you went south.
His game has actually improved quite a bit.
Well, that's
my
good.
Game's still awful.
That's good to hear. At least he improved.
Ryan Garco flies out to center, and the Indians go 1-2-3. We'll go to the 9th here in Cleveland. 9-0 Kansas City. And the Indians go to the bullpen. We'll see right-hander Joe Smith coming on. It's an important guy for Eric Wedge to try to get back into the mix.
Yes, indeed. It has been a while. April 28th was the last time Smitty's been in a ball game. It's against the Red Sox. He's been playing catch-up from spring training.
Tony Pena Jr. will lead it off. For Kansas City, he's 1 for 3. Whoa. Just a bit outside, as they might say. And Eric Wedge was quick to point out, Joe Smith's still a young guy. Coming over from the National League. They still feel like, he can be an important late inning reliever. But they're not going to rush him right back into that role.
They acquired him because they wanted him to match up. It gives you a different dynamic out of a bullpen. When you got a different look like this, and the Indians haven't had a guy like this since Matt Miller, I don't think. And he hasn't been healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends if you need a matchup in the 6th inning. It doesn't matter. When you go through some tough teams, that Detroit team has a lot of good right-handed hitters.
Took care of Tony Pena in a hurry. 1 down.
He can be awfully tough, but it's going to take him a while to get back into shape and get a feel and get to throw his pitches like he's capable of doing. There's a nice little slider there to retire Pena. His heart was in it, but his butt wasn't.
I've heard that said differently.
Well, I know. I got to be careful. We're on television.
De Jesus yanks one down the right field line. That'll go among the gulls all the way to the fence. And he's into second base with a 1-out double. Probably brings back fond memories for you of old Exhibition Stadium in Toronto.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's where most of the gulls would be, right over on the lake. Where they have a lot of them, too, is actually in Comerica, where they fire off some sounds to get those birds out of there.
Very few of those birds even flinched on that
They're
ball.
not afraid of the ball.
Put a bat in their hand.
They're hitters. They don't own gloves.
They're not afraid.
They're DHs.
Willie Bloomquist has 1 hit tonight, 1 for 4. And a called strike. I don't ever remember it being this many birds for as prolonged a period of time.
It seems that every homestand they just keep coming back more and more.
He's able to check on that pitch outside. 1-2 the count. Bounces it to short. Valbuena fires it over and just does get Bloomquist 2 down. Time now to get a look at our Northern Ohio Buick Pontiac GMC performance of the game and the career night for Alberto Callaspo. First 4 hit night, first 4 ribby night, first slam. Well, you were right on it early in the year, probably about maybe a month into the season. You pointed out grand slams. The pace of which they have been hit, the frequency, and we've had 1 slam in each of the first 2 games of the series.
They've been up all year. You've got now 31 in the American League, and I don't have the National League numbers.
I think I have them here. Let me look it up.
I've got 31 in the American League.
And in the National League, 29 going into tonight.
So there's 60.
And we're not even halfway through the season.
True.
We're still a long ways from halfway. Beats it into the ground again, so that's a good sign. Smith's had that good sinker working. And a scoreless inning of relief for Joe Smith. Bottom of the 9th coming up, 9-0 Kansas City. Bottom of the ninth here at Progressive Field. 9-zip KC. Hafner, Peralta, Valbuena to bat for the Tribe against right-hander Kyle Farnsworth. Farnsworth getting a little work here. Travis Hafner will lead off 1 for 3 tonight. By the way, Friday, with the Cardinals coming to town, post-game fireworks set to the music from my favorite decade, the 1980s. Saturday, a 4 o'clock game here at Progressive Field. And the 80s weekend continues with the Shin-Soo Choo bobblehead giveaway, courtesy of Subway. And they're also going to have a post-game baseball movie on the Progressive Field scoreboard. And then 80s weekend wraps up Sunday.
That's Major League they're going to show on that scoreboard.
What did we say? It's the 20th?
20th, yes, it is.
Hafner flies out to left, 1 away. And then Sunday, the weekend wraps up with the Grady Sizemore reversible jersey, courtesy of Time Warner Cable.
Special 8:05 start.
That's for all kids 14 and under. That's right, Sunday night baseball this weekend. And as always, the kids' fun day is kids' fun night.
Yeah.
They won't run the bases after the ball game because it may be near midnight.
Yes, it will.
But they still will have all the pregame activities. Johnny Peralta takes a strike. And then looking ahead to next week with the Brewers coming to town, Monday's going to be a lot of fun. It's the Major League Monday with the Wild Thing Rick Vaughn bobblehead giveaway, courtesy of AM/PM. And Harry Doyle will throw out the first pitch to the game. Bob Uecker, who will obviously be in town.
He is. He's going to throw out good.
Brewers' longtime radio voice. Ground ball to third. Hernandez fires it over. 2 down. And with 2 away, Luis Valbuena will come to the plate for the Tribe, 1 for 3. The set on the pitch by Farnsworth, and it's in there for a strike. Also want to make mention that the Center for Families and Children received a check tonight for more than $23,000 as part of the Fill the House for Charity event. They raised $7,000 through advanced group ticket sales and experience packages. And so all told, the total funds raised tonight, $23,253 for the Center for Families and Children. So we thank everybody for this great Fill the House for Charity event tonight. Conrad's postgame show comes your way as soon as we wrap it up here tonight. And we just did. Valbuena strikes out looking. Royals pitchers combined for a dozen punch-outs on the night. And they win it 9-zip to even the series at a game apiece. Win tonight goes to